Hiya Benchmates, and welcome to a special combined episode of both Beyond the Box Art and...
Welcome to the Scale Model Podcast. In this podcast, we aim to entertain, inform, and promote the hobby of scale model kit building with interviews, reviews, and news about the hobby.
Please welcome your host, Brownie, who is joined by Dan Brazil, Shane Cowie, Geoff, Heyland, and Terry Miesley.
Hiya Benchmates, and a very warm welcome to something a little bit special. This is episode 28 of Beyond the Box Art, and episode 161 of the Scale Model Podcast. A joint episode bringing two shows, two communities, and one shared passion together at the bench. Now, before we get underway, we want to take a moment because this episode exists for a reason. Many of you will know that the Scale Model Podcast has been on hiatus since July last year, as Stuart Clark has quite rightly been focused on looking after his wife Alicia, who's been going through ongoing treatment. With further surgery coming up late April, everyone connected with the show sends Stuart and Alicia our very best wishes, strength and support for the road ahead. Now, this episode is not a replacement for either show. It never could be. Instead, it's our way of giving something back to one of the true innovators of the scale modelling podcasts. The Scale Model Podcast was right there at the very beginning, second out of the blocks only just after the On the Bench show with Digger Dave, Ian and Julian, and has helped shape what the space has become today. So this episode is a thank you. A way to keep the conversation going, to keep the bench warm, and to bring both communities together for something that feels familiar, but just a little bit different. So what we got lined up for you? We'll follow a familiar format to the Scale Model Podcast running order with news around the hobby, discussion about releases since the last show, and a few other bits and pieces that hopefully feel familiar to the audience of the show. But first, introductions. I'm your host, Paul Pendleton Brown. My friends call me Brownie, so let's be friends. I'm based in the northwest of the UK, somewhere between Liverpool and Manchester, but don't have the funny accent. Just ask Hamish McBoulders. If you don't understand what that means, you should listen to the previous episode. Rob gave him the nickname and thought he was Scottish, even though he comes from Liverpool. Okay, so for me, the day job, I work as manager of an air traffic unit and producing Beyond the Box Art by night. Occasionally, even finding time to stick some bits of plastic together. So joining me from the box art crew, I've got from the deepest, darkest West Norfolk, Dan Brazil.
Hiya Benchmates. Well, I am based in West Norfolk, which is mighty 8th bomber country and fighter group county as well, of course. I've been back into the hobby properly for about 4 or 5 years now, after various stints in and out. One-to-one scale life, as I call it, gets in the way sometimes, but this is my biggest involvement in the hobby at this stint, I should say, and I don't think I'm getting out considering the size of the stash that I'm quickly acquiring. So I build anything that I'd like to see in my display cabinet or take to a show. Anything from cars, armour, ships, tanks, figures, maybe even a bit of sci-fi here and there, whatever I like the look of.
From the original London, not the Canadian knockoff, we have Shane Cowie.
How are we doing? So for those that don't know me, I am an operational manager during the day and a keen modeller by night. When it comes to weekends, I like to get out on the golf course as well. That's my release from the working aspect of life. The benchmates that followed us through the last few episodes will know I've got 2 young boys that model, and we're very keen plane addicts. And basically, if it wasn't for my boys, I probably wouldn't have been back into the hobby. I started the hobby on my granddad's kitchen table, and like most people, I have a little hiatus every now and then, but when my eldest son was of the right age, built on my little Spitfire, and then that was when the bug truly caught back, and that was nearly 10 years ago. Absolutely love it. Like I say, it's my little way to escape, and gives you a little bit of a mental release as well. A nice creative journey. So that's a little bit about me.
Fantastic. Now, it wouldn't be right to have this show without familiar voices from the Scale Model Podcast. So, from the great state of Illinois, we're joined by Mr. Terry Miesley.
Good evening, gentlemen. Happy to be here. Thanks so much for doing this. Having been on hiatus now for a while, you see just how much that podcast is stews. He does all the heavy lifting on it. Jeff and I are just color commentary, really. Just the peanut gallery. I've been here in Illinois in the Chicago region for over 30 years now. Professionally, I'm a master flavorist for a company called Sensient. I'm the savory end of things, so I do things like meat flavors, cheeses, fermented things, all kinds of stuff. We have specialties, but I'm more of a generalist. It's cooking. I grew up in the kitchen, and I still cook. I cook at work all day, just on a very concentrated and controlled manner to generate the things I need. Modeling, I started like most of you guys. I started with my dad. He had kept models he built as a kid in boxes, mostly ships, which we promptly destroyed. But then started building and building and building. He built this little bench down in the basement, which was nice because it was nice and cool. I grew up in Cincinnati, and all of August is 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It's miserable, but in the basement, it's nice. I never stopped. I painted miniatures for D&D and other games and such. Did that all through college too, because it doesn't take nearly as much space. And I still get back into the minis mood every so often, but mostly it's aircraft, science fiction, and then stuff to support it. So I'll do groundwork. I'll do animals. I just did a 1/10 scale hammerhead shark from Fade to Black Productions. That was a lot of fun. I got the itch really to do some more of those, and some prehistoric stuff. I got like a woolly rhino in 10th scale from another company. And so I'll be doing some more of those. It's a great break from it and really lets you work on the organic tones and everything. So yeah, outside Chicago, I'm in a little town called East Dundee. It's along the Fox River, about 40 miles or so out of Chicago. Unless you have to drive, then it takes like an hour and a half.
Not as bad as Wales, but nearly as bad.
Oh, at least you're going faster, unless you're on the highway, and then you're not.
Oh, I get you. And we're also joined from the North Shore of Lake Erie by the one and only Mr. Geoff Heyland.
Hello all. Hello, Benchmates. I'm trying to get into the group with this podcast. It's a real joy to see you guys face to face, although it's from Zoom. And it's wonderful that you're doing this. I spoke with Stuart yesterday, confirmed that he wasn't going to be able to join us because he's knee deep. And he's basically got his full-time job, and then he has a full-time job as his wife's PSW, which is grinding him down. And it's hard to be fun about this podcast right now or about this hobby entirely. But at the same time, as you mentioned at the outset, Paul, Alicia's on the list, and hopefully that'll be successful. And with any luck, once Stuart gets a bit of R&R and gets his groove back, we'll be able to get back on the air, and maybe we'll have another one of these joint things with you guys just to pay you back, so to speak. Anyway, my history, I'm probably the closest to death here of all of us. I started modeling in the early 1960s, like 1961, with the kind of kits that were available in 1961, and they were eminently blow-upable with firecrackers, which were also available at the corner store in 1961. And I'm a retired corporate lawyer, which I just fell into because I couldn't figure out any other job I could possibly do that would allow me to argue with people. And that worked out very well. I'm still married to my first date, who actually invited me out to what we would have called, we in North America call a Sadie Hawkins dance, where the girls invite the boys out, when we were 16. And I have 3 daughters. They each have 2 kids. So I got 6 grandkids, 3 boys, 3 girls, all of whom like to wreck my models. So it works out pretty well. It allows me to build new models. Yes, we have a house on the North Shore of Lake Erie, 7 acres in the forest right on the lake. And we bought the land 2009, designed the house, built it, and all 3 of our daughters were married here. And so it's kind of hard to sell it. That's part of the problem. But in any event, we don't want to. So right now it's fine. And we also have a place in London because we babysit so frickin' much that the driving back and forth from the lake to London was driving us nuts. So we have a house about two minutes walk from 4 of the 6 grandkids. And we spend a lot of our time abusing them. So that's pretty much it for me. Anyway, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks so much for doing this. And nice to be able to talk to our audience. I'm pretty sure there's at least one person that was listening to us at one point.
Oh dear. I'm just thinking that we may have to edit out the part about you abusing grandkids, because these days that's probably not a good term to be using.
Oh, no, they totally understand. They abuse me too. It's a quid pro quo thing.
Fair enough. Obviously a lost in translation moment. Okay then. Right, 2 shows, 1 bench and plenty to get stuck into. This is Beyond the Box Art Scale Model Podcast, and it starts now.
Beyond the Box Art is brought to you by Ammo by Mig Jimenez, Fishcom Model Company, Guideline Publications, Phase Hanger Resin Accessories, and the Scale Modelers Supply.
So, let's go around with what we've actually got on our workbenches. So, let's start off with Shane.
So on the bench at the minute, I am working on a master grade Gundam Death Scythe. It's predominantly what I build at the minute, to be fair, since probably about 2 years ago. Again, reliving my childhood through my kids. It's quality. But yeah, working my way through the stash, and I spent quite a bit of time this morning actually getting some painting done. So I've got all of my metal work done, some magnesium and some gold parts as well. So they're all sorted. And yeah, I need to get this done pretty quickly because I'm going to need some room. I sent the lads a picture this morning. I had the delivery. But yeah, that's what I'm working on at the minute. I'm working on a master grade Gundam Death Scythe from the Endless Waltz anime.
Not a small subject.
Not a small subject, probably one of my most favourite animes of all time. And fortunately, it's also Jacob's, who's my eldest son. He's built all of them in high grade. He had them on display at Telford. But yeah, I haven't managed to get them all built yet. So I'm lagging behind him a little bit. But hopefully, it won't be too long before I've got them all done. I've got one left to do after this. I've got the last one I've got to do is Shenlong. So that'll be the set complete.
Then what are you going to do?
Then, for the benefit, I appreciate our listeners and can't see this, but I'm going to show the lads across the pond here. Look. This turned up this morning.
Oh my God. Did it have its own truck?
Yeah,
I've actually got a photograph of Shane inside the box.
Like it.
Yeah, to be fair, so when I sent this picture out this morning to the lads, Brownie went, I'm pretty sure you could fit in that, to which both my kids went, yeah, let's have a go. And they couldn't actually fit in it. So yeah, for those that couldn't see it, it is the Monument EX, which I've been talking about now for quite a while. It's an absolute monster. Like, it is ridiculous. That box is probably, 2.5 feet by a foot in depth. So yeah, it's going to take some while. Circa 850 parts in it as well. So definitely not one for our friend Wongy.
That is ridiculous.
That's insane. But a challenge.
Oh dear.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I was going to say, what have you been spending your cash on? But I think we've just had a bit of a clue.
No, I mean, I had spent that a little while ago. That was a treat to myself after finishing my MBA at the beginning of the year. And I haven't spent any money for a little while because, well, after today, if Mrs. Cowie sees anything else arriving, I think I'll be the first one closest to death, Geoff.
Fair point.
Oh dear.
But yeah, that's me.
Okay then. Geoff, what have you got on your bench?
Oh, I'm a mess. I spent the last 2 months trying to finish up some. You can see behind me, there's a 747 with a space shuttle on it. And there's a Martin Mars water bomber that sort of looks like it's dropping some water. Both of those are kits I probably started about 2.5 years ago. And I was writing an article for IPMS Canada's magazine, or for each of them. And I just lost interest in it at one point. And the shuttle itself had like 4 massive A4 pages of decals of all the tiles and everything. And I thought, oh, I'm going to shoot myself if I have to do this. So anyway, I finally got up the guts to do it, and they look pretty good. I'm not unhappy with them. And I finished the articles, and now it'll take 2 years for them to edit them, but it'll eventually show up somewhere. So I've been doing those, finishing those off. And then at our local IPMS London, Ontario, this chapter, we usually have a Christmas Secret Santa Claus kind of gift exchange thing where you pick a model from the pile of kits, and then the next person can either steal your model or can go get another one from the pile of kits, and it keeps going until finally the last gift is gone. And I managed to get this thing, which Shane should know, should recognize, I guess, from something or other.
Oh, yes.
It's a what the hell is it? I don't know. It's an SV262HS Draken 3 or Draken 3.
Yeah, the Dragon. Yeah, very good.
From the Macross series. And so I've been working on that, and it's and this is where it's getting to. And it's mostly like a decal project. It's insane the amount of decals that you have to put on this thing. And they're gossamer. They fall apart if you breathe on them. So it's a total pain in the ass. But anyway, I've been doing that. And I joined a little group that goes to the local Legion, which is for ex-military. And every first Thursday of the month, and we're supposed to bring a model and work on it. So I got this, which is an old Hasegawa Typhoon Russian sub, 1/350th scale. It's got like 3 parts, put it together in one night. Now I got to figure out how to paint it. And I kind of think it's like the Kursk or something. I want to make it look like it's destroyed sitting on the bottom of the ocean or something like that. So I'm looking forward to that as a painting project. But yeah, that's kind of what I've got going right now. Most of what I'm doing, if you can see behind me, there's lots of magazines. I inherited like thousands of magazines and books from modelers who have chosen to get out of the hobby at one stage or another. And Brownie, I noticed in your bio, you mentioned that somebody threw your full collection of scale aircraft modeler from issue number 1 into a skip. I think I have them. Oh,
yes.
I think I have all of yours. Anyway,
Great.
I'm trying to go through them, sort them out. I'm trying to distribute some of them. A lot of duplication. I've been selling books, giving away books. Just, it's that stage of life, trying to edit things down. And so that's taken up a lot of time too. But it's actually kind of fun. It's a weird feeling to go through your stuff and try to decide what you really care about anymore. It's interesting. Anyway, that's me.
Yeah, very therapeutic. Reference your decal problem. There's a product from the company that does Microset and Microsol, which is a liquid decal film.
Yep, I got it right here.
Have you tried spraying that onto your decals before applying?
I brushed it on this stuff. I think, pretty sure that's what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
I brushed it on and I've not had great success with it. Now, I think it's because I'm inherently an impatient man and I don't let it dry long enough, because when I cut the decal off, it gets this milky film on it and then it all goes wonky on me. So sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but I really do think it's operator error more than anything else.
I used it on the decals I made for the moosaroo, which, for those that have seen the photograph of the car, which was an absolute disaster from start to finish, especially the last 7 hours of the build, the sun visor actually had a message in Japanese, which was Moosaroo Cup, for those that translated it. And either side of it was the Canadian Warplane Heritage logo from the early 2000s.
Very good.
There was even a better message on the back, so you're going to have to get Google AI to translate the photographs from the back of the model. But
I'm not sure I want to now. That sounds dangerous.
But I'm looking forward to reading your article because...
Good for you, IPMS Canada membership. I am so proud of you, Paul.
A prize you weren't expecting?
No, I wasn't. I think I've written about 8 articles over the last 4 years that have been published. Some of them are fun, and as you can tell, I'm a fairly laid-back individual, so most of my stuff is pretty self-deprecatory.
Yeah, I know you did reference the F5, and was it the T33 that you sprayed up for?
Oh, those were nice.
The large ones? Yeah, they were really good. Because you were talking about that in one of your last episodes.
They were nightmares, those ones. Those were the ones that were FSM 3D printed or FDM 3D printed.
FDM.
They were just a nightmare, but they turned out looking not too bad. I was pleased with those. They hang from the ceiling now at the Jet Aircraft Museum here in London.
That's a good distance for it.
It's a perfect distance, particularly if you're looking at it from at least a mile away.
Oh dear. Yes, I know that feeling. You've got some fantastic museums near you, because I actually have visited the Canadian Warplane Heritage some years ago, which is a fantastic collection. Obviously, that's where the Heritage Con, which you've just held, is located.
Yep.
And the jet collection that you're talking about had or still has a Hawker Hunter that actually came from an airfield that I was working at the time, which was Cotswold Airport, Kemble.
I think it's still there. I mean, the last I saw it, it was painted fully in all black. It was an all black Hawker Hunter.
Is that the airworthy one?
Yep, it flies. Yep. And there's a T-33 painted all red in the Red Knight for Canada's early aerobatic team. It's quite a good little.
Because you got rid of your Vampire that went out to New Zealand, was it, or Australia?
Well, maybe they did, because I was just watching on the news last night, our local news, and they were doing an interview with the head of the Jet Aircraft Museum, and the guys behind them were working on applying RCAF decks to the Vampire that they had just finished building. So maybe it's another one. We've got another one.
Yeah.
I'll have to go.
It is another one. The first one they had, which had was it a red nose with a bat logo or something on?
That's a pretty famous
Because that one's now flying.
in New Zealand.
That one's now flying in either New Zealand, I think it's either New Zealand or Australia, but all they've done is just taken the Canadian markings off and put on, it's actually Australian markings. They put Australian, it just looks completely wrong.
Yeah, that's what Australians do. That's what the Aussies do. They screw around with everything. That's the nature of them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh, we're having a go at Goldfinch indirectly.
Hey, we're colonials. We can badmouth other colonials. It's not a problem.
Well, that's very true. That's very true. Those on the other side of the border, just mention a cup of tea and they run a mile.
Yeah, or throw it in the harbor, one or the other.
Yeah, true. Okay, then. So, with that, Dan, what have you got on your bench at the moment?
Yeah, let's get back to models before we create an international incident somewhere. There's enough of that going on in the world, God knows. Yes, so as always, I usually have a mix of different projects at different stages because, as I've said on our podcast plenty of times, I have to do my airbrushing usually on weekends in my conservatory, which is where my extraction booth is. So I sort of have to plan builds and get them into primer and then say, right, I can't do any more on that one. I can then jump on this. And I always try to use the time that I have at the bench to do modeling rather than doom scrolling on the phone, as we can all sometimes do. So when I first got back in to the hobby, I went a bit nuts on 1/35th kits, as we all do, because the prices were good and it was obviously a lot of Tamiya in there, which is one of my favourite manufacturers, as many of us are. But I discovered when I got back into the hobby, I actually bought a 1/48 scale kit, and it was the Tamiya GMC Deuce and Half truck. And I assumed when I first got back in that was the main sort of scale for armour and soft skin vehicles, etc., within the hobby. So bought quite a few of those and really enjoyed building them. Then jumped on the 1/35th stuff. But what's happened now is I seem to have sold off most of my 1/35th armour collection stash that I had, and I've pretty much replaced it now exclusively with 1/48. And for me, the turnaround on my builds is so much quicker with 1/48, and I don't get they stay really fresh, and my enthusiasm stays quite fresh for them. They don't sort of fall by the wayside and I might move on to something else. So an acquisition that I bought at Telford was the Italeri Auto Belinda AB43, which is a beautiful little kit. It does have vinyl tyres, and at the moment it's in Mr. Surfacer brown mahogany primer as a base coat. But if anybody knows, the camouflage pattern on that is maybe a glass of wine and a long think about it before you attempt it. Yeah, you question whether you really should be doing that or just do it in desert colour. So
silly putty is your friend.
Yeah. I may even attempt to paint it with a brush, with a detail brush, but very, very light coats and slowly build up the colour like that. I'm not sure, but as with anything I've not done before, I'll probably have a practice on a piece of scrap plastic and just see what it looks like. And yeah, jumping on to a complete other subject is a figure that I also bought at Telford, and this is a 3D print, and it's Tommy Shelby from the Peaky Blinders series.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a 1/16th scale figure, but what I have done is prepared a nice plinth for him to go on. So I've got to drill the feet for him to stand on there, and what is going to be a civilian diorama, which is it's the Gecko. It is actually 1/35th, and it's the Series 1 Land Rover. But I've painted it in pastel green. That was a colour that these actually were available in from new. And he's halfway through painting. I have a gamekeeper figure, and obviously his dog as well. And my diorama is going to be called Faithful Friend. And is that the Land Rover, which is many people's faithful friend, or is it the dog, or is it even the shotgun that the gamekeeper has with him? But it's going to be on a sort of country lane sort of scene, and I've got to do a farm gate and probably a flint wall behind him. And I'm going to need to get the sculpting tools out because I've got to actually sculpt some hanging pheasants. And I'll either put them on the bonnet or hang them over the wing mirror. And I've never sculpted anything like that before. So again, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, there'll probably be a few rejections before I get anything that actually looks vaguely good. So yeah, that's what's been on my bench at the moment.
Fantastic. Okay then, Terry.
Yeah, during the winter, I did a lot of clearing away of half-baked projects, getting them out of the way because I wanted to do something new, and that's an addiction, just starting new stuff, right? But I've managed to get a copy of the Hyuga kit and the Star Blazers Space Battleship Yamato series in 1000 scale, which is in the new series. I did the Asuka a while ago, so now I'm working on 3 from that series: Yamato, a Hyuga, and the Desura core ship from the bad guys, right? I've got, if you saw the pictures of my cabinets, you see a lot of Yamato and Macross stuff in there. So I'm having fun painting that. The flight deck is one big decal. It actually went down really well. I've had mixed results with Bandai decals. Sometimes you get them down and they will never move. They're just there. This one I did it like underwater. Flight deck is separate, put it in a bowl of water and then got it on and get it in place, and then use the the Solvaset and everything to get it good and snug down. So it's looking pretty good. Got a huge number of fighters. That's what I'll be doing at the club meeting today. I'll be starting to paint up details on the fighters. I've got them in primer color and a coat of ink and future down for the paneling on it, so I can see it more easily and do all that. So that's pretty nice. Beyond that, I had started the Halberd models conversion P47 to the XP82, which was a late war trial using. They tried 2 of the big engines, the big Corncob 28 cylinder engine, or the 3350. I think it was the other one in there. Neither one of them were necessary, as the 2800s just kept getting better. But it looks like a shark. I mean, it looks like a Mako shark. It's fantastic. So I'll do that. I'm going to do the big contra rotating props ones. John Payne did the same thing, and we have a knack on these ones of planning without seeing each other's stuff, of picking the exact same thing and the exact same way to do it. The Halberd models kit is meant for the P47D from Tamiya, but if these went into service, it would be more like the M or N. So that's what we both are. He did it earlier. I'm doing it as well. It takes a little bit of work. It's the later model with the different tail and the snubbed wings and all of that. So it should be pretty cool. I'm going to do it in either Australian, New Zealand colors to be like a long patrol attack plane out over the open ocean, and paint it up in that probably just the sea green and gray kind of colors on it, which should look fantastic. Beyond that, there are so many open projects back here. I've got figures I want to get back to working on. Some that are ready. They're like in primer. Let's just get back to it. It's like, but if you lose interest, just put it back in its box, put it on the shelf until you get interest again. Otherwise, you're just going to do a crappy job at it.
Yeah.
So that's it. I got a whole bunch of other ones too but I'll see what gets me back. But right now, Yamato verse stuff.
Okay then.
Yeah.
And for the record, it is pronounced Yamato. That's good to know.
Yes.
Not Yamamoto?
No, if Stuart were here, we would have a debate about
Yamato.
Yamato.
Hey, I thought I'd throw that one in there just for Stuart's benefit. Okay. With that, let's take a quick short break and we'll come back and we'll talk about the latest shows and upcoming shows.
Fishcop Models, elevating scale modeling to an art form. Experience highly detailed 3D printed upgrade parts that bring true authenticity to your builds. Creators of the acclaimed Rolls-Royce Merlin engine set for both the Kotare Spitfire and the Dambusters set for the border models Avro Lancaster. For bespoke design and printing, our service is as precise as it is personal, all at a reasonable price. please take a look at our products on www.fishcopcompany.de. Shipping is available for all of our products worldwide.
Head to beyondtheboxart.com for host bios, guest features, and direct links to all our social channels. Your central hub for staying connected.
Do you want cutting-edge detail for your kits? Then take a look at Phase Hanger Resin Accessories, run by USAF veteran Mike Reeves. With real-world aircraft experience as a crew chief, Mike knows exactly where accuracy counts. And today, he's bringing that knowledge to life with precision 3D printed parts. From seamless intakes and nozzles to dropped flaps, pods, pylons, and cockpit upgrades, Phase Hanger's prints capture the crisp edges and fine detail that limitations in injection molding just can't reproduce. From 1/72nd to 1/32nd scale, you'll find add-ons from Cold War classics to the latest frontline jets with frequent new additions to the product range. Every piece is designed by modelers, for modelers, and faithfully reproduced on state-of-the-art printers and shipped worldwide, and are ready to drop straight into your next build. With additions to the product line landing all the time, there's always something fresh to elevate your next build. Explore the full range at phasehangerresin.com and follow Phase Hanger on Facebook and Instagram for regular updates and inspiration. Phase Hanger Resin Accessories, authentic detail designed with a veteran's eye and available to modelers everywhere. Phase Hanger is a proud sponsor of the Beyond the Box Art podcast.
Here comes the Stash Inflation Report, separating genuine must-haves from, well, it was on pre-order anyway.
Right then, Benchmates, it's that time again. The bench is full, the wallets are nervous, and the stash is about to get significantly bigger. This is your Stash Inflation Report. Kicking things off this week, we head over to ICM. Among the highlights is the 1/48 scale Lockheed Hudson Mark III, now officially announced, though we're still waiting on that release date. The Hudson, of course, was one of the RAF's early war workhorses, a maritime patrol aircraft that filled a critical gap during those early, uncertain days of the Battle of the Atlantic. Staying firmly with World War II territory, ICM are also bringing out a 32nd scale Booker BU-131D winter version. This classic German training aircraft now is one of those types that doesn't always get the spotlight, but it trained a huge number of Luftwaffe pilots before they ever saw combat. That's followed by a 1/48 scale Henschel HS-129B, a proper brute of a ground attack aircraft. Designed specifically to take on armour, it was heavily armoured itself, a real flying tank, but one that had its fair share of operational challenges. And continuing that, the United States Army Air Force bomber theme, there is a 48 scale B-26, the Last Marauder. The Marauder famously went from being one of the most difficult aircraft to fly to one of the safest, a real redemption story in aviation history. Moving into the modern era, rotary wing fans are well catered for on the 48 scale Sikorsky UH-60A Blackhawk Medivac, complete with flight medics, and a 48 scale Boeing AH-6J Little Bird, representing US Special Force operations, two iconic helicopters that really highlight just how far military aviation has evolved. Next up, Miniart, who continue to absolutely hit their stride. First up is the Republic P-47N2RE Thunderbolt in 48 scale, the long-ranged variant of a legendary Jug. Designed late in the war for Pacific operations, this version featured redesigned wings and increased fuel capacity to escort bombers over vast distances. Proper long-legged muscle. Then we've got something a little more historic, the Junkers F-13 mid-production military service aircraft, also in 48 scale. Now this is genuinely pioneering machinery, one of the world's first all-metal transport aircraft, corrugated skin, unmistakably silhouette, and a real turning point in aviation design. Back into late war Luftwaffe with the Focke-Wulf FW-190D9 early production, JG-54 Grunners. The Dora, of course, was introduced to counter high-altitude Allied fighters, and JG-54 markings give you the distinctive and often quite artistic late war camouflage. Before we move on, a really interesting modern Cold War experimental subject from Kinetic. They've announced a 1:48 scale Luftwaffe F-104G CCV, and this one's a fascinating one. The CCV, or Control Configured Vehicle, was part of a German experimental program looking at advanced flight control systems. Visually, it stands out with those additional canards and modified control services, giving the already striking starfighter an even more futuristic look. The F-104 itself, of course, had a long, sometimes controversial service history with the Luftwaffe, but this particular variant represents a shift towards the kind of fly-by-wire thinking that one could define later generations of combat aircraft. Definitely one of those who like something a bit different and on the shelf. Over to Tiger Head Models, who have announced a 72nd scale Messerschmitt Bf-109 K14, alongside a 48 scale conversion set for the Edward Bf-109, currently in development. The K14 sits right at the very end of the 109's lineage, and one of those what might have been variants as the war drew to a close. Special Hobby are also busy with a 72nd scale Fairey Albacore Mark 1/2. Now, the Albacore was intended to replace the Sawfish, and while it never quite captured the same legendary status, it served extensively across multiple theatres from the North Atlantic to the Mediterranean and beyond. They are also preparing a Lockheed Hudson Mark 4/5/6 in 72nd scale, expanding on those later variants of a truly versatile aircraft. Now, from Great Wall Hobby, we move into the jet age with a pair of 48 scale F-16 releases. First up, the F-16DU United States Air Force and Royal Singapore Air Force 30th anniversary scheme, featuring 3 commemorative schemes displayed at Luke Air Force Base between 2023 and 2025. Proper eye-catching finishes. Along that, the F-16CM Block 50 Fighting Falcon, with marking options spanning the United States Air Force, Japan, Saudi Arabia and Germany, including that distinctive half-glass finish and anniversary schemes, a real global snapshot of one of the most successful multi-role fighters ever. And finally, something a little different from Border Models. They've announced a 1/35 scale North American P-51D Mustang, but with a twist. This one comes pre-painted in metallic aluminium base, aiming to remove what they describe as no more tedious model painting. Now, whether that's action or controversy, I'll leave that one to you, Benchmates. But it certainly opens the door for builders who just want to focus on assembly and finishing rather than the full paint process. Markings include Glamorous Glen 3, Creamer's Dream and Matchery, with an optional lighting and power kit available separately, so plenty of scope to take further if you wish. So there we are, another week, another serious hit to the stash, and more proof that the hobby is showing absolute no signs of slowing down. But speaking of things with tracks, armour and slightly heavier footprint, I'm going to hand you straight over to Dan for the AFVs.
Thanks, Boulders. First up this episode, IBG Models are heading into Cold War territory with something for fans of British armour. Coming soon in 72nd scale is the V4101 Charioteer, specifically configured for Middle Eastern service. Now, for those unfamiliar with the Charioteer, it was Britain's answer to giving older Cromwell chassis a serious anti-tank punch, fitting them with the formidable 20-pounder gun in a new turret. IBG have been on a strong run lately with their smaller scale armour subjects, and this release looks set to offer modelers an unusual post-war vehicle with plenty of regional camouflage potential. For anyone with an interest in export armour or lesser covered Cold War conflicts, this could be one to watch. Next up, from Dynamo Models, they continue to impress with their increasingly dramatic figure releases. This latest set is titled Bailout, French Tank Crew 1940. This new resin set captures the desperate moments after a Suma S-35 has been knocked out during the Battle of France. 2 crewmen are shown urgently escaping their stricken vehicle, while a third remains behind, weapon ready, covering their retreat. It's a strikingly cinematic composition loaded with movement and emotion, available in both 1/35 and 72nd scales, with optional heads and high-quality resin printing. This set looks ideal for diorama builders into early war French armour scenes. Dynamo are clearly carving out a niche for storytelling through their figures, and this release reinforces that reputation nicely. And finally, something little bit more left field from Balaton Model, who are offering the Hungarian HSCS GS35 tractor in both 1/25th and 1/72nd scale. These 3D printed resin kits come complete with photo etch parts and represent another welcome addition for modelers interested in more obscure axis support and logistical vehicles. Hungarian subjects remain seriously underrepresented in the hobby, so it's refreshing to see manufacturers exploring beyond the usual mainstream armour staples. Whether you're building Eastern Front support scenes, logistics dioramas, or simply fancy something genuinely unusual in your collection, this could prove a very worthwhile release. So from British tank destroyers to desperate French crew escapes and Hungarian utility vehicles, it's another varied month proving armour modelers can continue to have plenty to tempt them. But enough of the tracks and armour plating, it's time to head from the battlefield to the high seas. Nevs, over to you, mate.
Thanks, Dan. Now, let's steady the decks and cast our eyes across the nautical side of the stash, where there's everything from Renaissance warships to Cold War missile cruisers heading for your workbench. First up, from a South Korean manufacturer we haven't spoken about before on the pod, Torii Factory are making waves with an intriguing series of 1/350th scale Japanese and Korean sailing vessels spanning from the Renaissance through to the Industrial Revolution. Among the announced releases are 3 variants of the iconic turtle ship, complete with full hulls and oar detail, alongside the formidable Panok Seon Korean battleship. While details remain somewhat scarce, particularly regarding whether these will be traditional injection molded kits or, more likely, high detail 3D printed offerings, pricing is expected to land somewhere between £30 and £50. For naval historians, diorama enthusiasts, or even wargamers with an eye on the shogunate era, these represent a genuinely exciting expansion into often overlooked maritime subjects. Something considerably more modern from I Love Kit, with a brand new tooling of the USS Mobile Bay in 1/200th scale. As the 7th vessel in the famed Ticonderoga class of guided missile cruisers, Mobile Bay served from her commissioning in 1987 through to reserve fleet status in 2023. Known for their increasingly ambitious, large-scale naval offerings, I Love Kit are expected to deliver another substantial injection-moulded release here, with UK pricing likely around the £140 mark. This promises to be a sizable centrepiece for modern naval builders, and should prove particularly tempting for those looking to expand their Cold War or modern US Navy collections. Finally, for fans of historic naval grandeur, Revel are bringing back their impressive 1/150 scale Swedish warship Vasa. First tooled in 2011, this full-hull injection moulded kit recreates the ill-fated but visually stunning flagship as she appeared in 1628, with 330 parts and a finished length of over 45 centimetres. This remains a substantial display piece straight from the box, though for many detail fanatics, it positively screams for aftermarket embellishment. So whether your tastes lean toward ships of the line, modern missile cruisers, or ornate 17th century flagships, there's plenty on the horizon to keep naval modelers well and truly afloat. Now, over to you, Shane. What's happening in the world of Gundam Mecha and all things gloriously futuristic?
Thanks, Nevs. And Benchmates, if your stash leans more towards mobile suits, cyberpunk classics, or sci-fi oddities, there's plenty here to test both your shelf space and your wallet. First up, ACKS are back with the MP03 in 1/43 scale, standing an impressive 19 centimeters tall and bringing serious patrol mech energy to the bench. This one includes a revolver cannon tucked neatly into the calf hatch, a stun stick, and a riot gun with a newly tooled deployment stock. You're also getting interchangeable head shutters, retractable patrol lamps, and a quality waterside decal for all your unit markings. It's due in October, and it's yours for around £60. Tiger model are stepping in to the Gundam arena with the MG-1100 Gundam Vidar BL, a more detailed and enhanced take on the iconic design. Expect upgrades, pre-painted gold-plated panels, coated hydraulic pistons, pre-finished blade parts, all aimed squarely at builders wanting something a little more premium straight from the box. This one's landing in May, and for approximately £35, which frankly sounds dangerously reasonable. For fans of Ghost in the Shell, Max Factory are delivering a real slice of manga nostalgia. With their 1/20th scale, Pla Max, minimum factory, Batu is inspired directly by the show's artwork, and the kit captures that unmistakably cyberpunk aesthetic beautifully. At around 8 centimeters tall, it may not dominate your display, but it absolutely delivers on presence. Expected in October, and for roughly £40. Bandai's Gundam Side F exclusive, real grade, 1/4 scale, Shazabi. This one in clear colour. As you'd expect, very much one for the collectors. The clear armour, dedicated action base, newly designed decals, and effective parts for those formidable double horn funnels that make this standout premium release. Available in May, though your bank balance may wince slightly at £100 mark. And finally, something a little different from a relative newcomer in Sheikh Mainland, with their 1/4 scale Ultra Action Trooper series, available in gold and silver variants. These original sci-fi kits offer fresh design language, trading cards, water slide decals, and a compact but respectable 12 to 14 centimeters finished height, releasing in May as well. And at around £35, they could well be one to watch for builders seeking something beyond their usual mainstream fare. So, whether you're after law enforcement mechs, manga legends, premium suit mobile suits, or entirely new sci-fi universes, there are no shortages of temptation heading your way. And that's your lot for this episode. And now, from a word from some of our sponsors, before we rejoin Geoff and Terry for this special episode.
Are you looking for top quality paints for your next project? Then look no further than the Scale Modeler Supply. Hi, I'm Scott, and as a passionate modeler myself, I've spent years creating the SMS product range, designing them specifically with a scale modeler in mind. We've worked extensively to develop our acrylic lacquer paint range to not only be airbrush ready straight out of the bottle, but also to be very easy to use so that anyone of any skill level can create professional results with minimal effort. Just give the bottle a good shake, pour into your airbrush and spray at 15 psi. So dive into your next project with confidence, knowing that you're backed by one of the finest hobby paints on the market. Head over to our website scalemodeler.com.au to check out our full range and to find your closest retailer.
Right then, guys. So, Geoff, you've recently had HeritageCon 18 over in London, the other London, the cheap copy of London. How did it go?
Hey. It went great. It was a great show.
Mm-hmm.
There were a ton of vendors. There was a lot of good stuff there. Over 960, I think it was actually more than that, models or builds on the tables, which is a pretty darn good turnout for Southwestern Ontario. We had, I think the Plastic Posse podcast was there, and we had a couple of demonstration sessions in a couple of the side boardrooms, which were well attended. A bunch of guys from our club won some prizes, which is nice to have happen. But really the fun part of that show is not necessarily winning anything. It's just seeing what everybody else is building, seeing the levels of imagination that are on the table. It was really a great turnout, and the place was packed. Now, this was the first year that they have passed. The way that HeritageCon works is all of the gate receipts goes to support the museum, Canadian Warplane Heritage. Like museums in the world that flies their planes. They have historic planes. They have one of the only 2 flyable Lancasters in the world. You guys have one over in your area. And it's just, I've been fortunate enough to fly on 2 of them. Not the Lancaster, but the Harvard and the Stearman, the biplane trainers, and the Harvard, the higher trainer. If you ever get a chance to do that, do it. It's outstanding. It's so much fun.
I've done it.
Oh, isn't it great? It's the best.
Well, I flew from a small strip near London with the Harvard display team you've got over there.
I was going to say, one of our neighbors down here at the, she helped us, but she flew in the Harvard display team for years, which is kind of neat. Has some amazing stories. I mean, and we get these Tillsonburg, Ontario, which is where they're based.
Tillsonburg is where I flew from. Yep. And I flew with a guy called Ed, who was last year Snowbird 10.
I wonder if it's the same guy, because my wife got her to get into the Chipmunk, and her pilot was an ex-Snowbird pilot. And my sister-in-law was flying in the Harvard, and the Snowbird pilot was teaching the other pilot of the Harvard how to getting the best ride ever, formation flying in the Harvard and the Chipmunk all over southwestern Ontario. Anyway, it's a great opportunity if you ever get a chance. I'm glad you had that chance, Paul, because it's once in a lifetime kind of thing. And in any event, yes, they had a great turnout. This is the first year that the museum took over the process of selling tickets. And in last year, they had people that had driven for hours to get there because the fire regulations, you could only have so many people in the building at any one time. You had bought your ticket online in advance, and you'd show up with it on your phone or get printed out copy, one of those square doohickeys that they take a picture of, and you get a little stamp, and off you go. You go in, and it worked out perfectly. But all day it was packed. They never had to turn anybody away, and it was one of the best attended shows in Canadian warplane heritage history. So that's pretty good. It was great. It was a really good show. Highly recommended. Fine Scale Modeler magazine was there, and they took a whole bunch of pictures of models, and they'll show up in the magazine at some point, I'm sure.
Fantastic. I look forward to seeing those. So, with that, from a show that's actually taken part to a show that's coming up, Terry, I believe you've got your show in the very near future.
That is coming up in the end of May, usually the first weekend of June, end of May. And it's going to be huge. I'm kind of off. I'm going to miss it, but for more Star Trek stuff, even more Star Wars stuff, I have to look and see what is actually there because I've been not paying as big of attention to it, but it's always massive. And if you have a chance to, if you're anywhere in the central US or want to travel, it's in Louisville. Louisville's a great town to go to just to visit. So take some extra time. You will put on 10 pounds in Louisville for sure. It's amazing.
So that's Louisville, Kentucky, and that's May 31st, June 1st?
Yeah, that sounds right for this year. So please do. The one I'm probably going to go to here and maybe try to sell some stuff off is NimCon. That's Northern Illinois spring show, and that's June 13th. It's a small regional show. I usually help out a little bit there when I get to go. I think I can make it this year. Half the time, there's some other event that keeps me from going. It's just annoying. But I think I'll be able to go this year, and I want to try to get through some of the kits and sell some old stuff off because I keep buying new stuff.
The U.S. Nationals, when are they and where are they, Terry?
That's in
Fort Wayne.
That's Northeast Indiana. Nice little town. They're going to do a good job. That will be August 5th through 8th. I'm tentatively planning on going, which means I need to make my arrangements now.
Well, I'm glad I reminded you. That's good.
Yeah. Neil and I hope to go. We go every couple of years. The thing is, I spend like an order of magnitude more at an IPMS Nationals than I would at Wonderfest. I pretty much have most of what I want from most of the vendors at Wonderfest, but Nationals, you never know what's going to show up from around the world. And the way the market is now, if you see it, buy it.
Terry, can I ask, do you find that the prices are better at the shows that you go to over there in the States, or are they about the same as what they would be if you ordered online, obviously without posting?
Yeah, substantially better.
Right. Okay.
Prices to the point where, if I was hemming and hawing over whether to buy something and say Rhino or someone like that has, the Japanese mecha kits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll buy it now. Import duties and such from Japan right now, especially now, if they've already brought a large amount over and paid the imports.
Yeah.
They can sell it for cheaper. And they'll bring stuff that they've had sitting around and not selling and
they obviously don't want to take it home with them.
They just want to get it out of their inventory and mark it down.
See, I think what we find here in the UK is that because of there's a core of vendors, or we would call them traders, who probably attend pretty much all of the major shows across the country. And you usually find that the price they're selling for is pretty much exactly what it would be if you click and order it online from them. Sometimes see perhaps when someone has passed away, as we had a vendor at our club show, and it was a lady that booked, and she basically bought her whole father's collection, and she said, I just want them to go. I don't want to take them home with me. But she said, I'm not too sure on prices. So we did a very quick, rudimentary, well, it would have been tempting to rub your hands together, Geoff, but you know, I believe in karma, and sometimes, you know, so I said, you know, we sort of went through and gave a few sort of guideline prices, and I said, that's what you roughly want. That's a good price for that. If you want to sell it less and you just want to get rid of it, then go for it. But that's a different sort of scenario. But the full-time vendors and traders, I've always wondered, because of the geographical distances in the States, do they want to go home with an empty van?
Yeah, well, that's their business model. There's a couple of resellers we've worked with, and we've had some club members die, and we're trying to sell stuff piecemeal or whatever, and he goes, I'll buy the whole lot. Let me look at it. I'll give you a price. And so stuff that you're like, well, I know I could get more for this, but I would get nothing for that. So lock it all together, gives you a check for $2,000 or something like that, which, you know, if you spent the time, and I don't want to spend the time, but if you spent the time, you could probably get more. But just to get it out, and then they're going to go through all the work, you know, opening up. We would do that. We would look in boxes, because we all do that. We all start something, put it back in its box and put it on the shelf. It's like, well, now that's kind of not sellable, but he'll buy it anyway. And he may try to sell it for $5 or something.
Do you also find as well, because I know some of the shows, a lot of the sort of more regional shows, quite a few of them are 2-dayers, aren't they, as well in the States? Is that right?
Very, very few are multi-day. Most of them are just a single day.
Ah, right. Okay. So do you have enough time to go shopping and view all of the tables?
On most of the shows, yes. Because, you know, you'll go once and then you'll go again. And then by the afternoon, if you're there the whole day, by the afternoon, you're like, yes, I'll go walk around the vials again and see if anything's still there. But at a show like Wonderfest, because there's a constant demo track going on. Actually, 3 demo tracks going on, guests, movies, all kinds of stuff. And sometimes you talk to people, it's like, have you got to the contest room yet? Oh, no, I better go. It's like, yeah, it's always good stuff in there.
Yeah. And before you know it, the day's rapidly going away. It's lunchtime.
Yeah, both days are gone. Yeah.
Yeah, the days have gone so quickly. Yeah, it's just interesting to see what the difference is with shows and events, you know, in different countries. I mean, I know Brownie, I wasn't on that call, but Brownie spoke to the chaps from the Philippines, and their IPMS show is on the ground floor of a shopping mall.
Nice.
And it's, you know, anyone can come and visit, and it's just a really different, a totally different vibe. Whereas I think today in London at the Excel Centre, our London here in the UK, there's a huge tabletop wargaming exhibition, but it's not as big as some of the events and shows they have there. I think they have one hall or maybe 1 or 2 halls, but I get the sense that you can walk around it all in a day and look around all of the stalls, whereas a show like Telford is just a monster. I mean, there are 3 halls, and each of those halls is probably 3 or 4 times the size of a fairly large show here in the UK, and there is no way you can see all of Telford in one day. You just cannot.
No, and that's kind of the level of the Nationals, and Wonderfest is approaching that. The Heritage Con is kind of in that same. Cincinnati's getting there too. Cincinnati routinely is now over 900 entries.
Yeah.
And they spread it out well. That's also in a museum.
Yeah, there's also...
That's a great venue.
Yeah, there used to be one at Hendon Museum in London and in North London at Colindale there. And that was great because you would be looking at 148 Spitfire kits in front of a Spitfire. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I'd like to get over to Telford at some point. My sister lives down in Petersfield.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I get to visit her as well.
So the next show we're at is going to be the de Havilland one, Dan, and that's at the de Havilland Museum, just north of London, literally just north of London. And you're going to be underneath the wings of one of the 3 mosquitoes that they've got there, and the vampire's still there. They've got a Comet fuselage, well, both Comet fuselage, both the racer from was it the late 30s?
Yeah.
and obviously the transatlantic as well. So it's going to be a good day out, that one, Dan.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very excited about that. And we are blessed to, because of travel distance in this country, if you're relatively central based, you can be anywhere. Within 3 hours, you can cover a fair distance and get to a lot of shows. I appreciate not everybody is mobile enough and able to get to them, but if you can, because they really do, if you're suffering a bit of negative modeling syndrome and you're not feeling great, it doesn't take much more than a show to walk around and have a chat with a few people, and
yeah, that's really true.
Yeah.
Kind of cuts both ways, though.
And see some people you haven't seen for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I find the negative modeling syndrome concept, it kind of cuts both ways when you go to a show, because I look at what's on the table and I say, what am I even doing? Trying to build models. I cannot meet this caliber. And that was kind of like that way at Heritage Con, because everything was top notch. It was just really good stuff. But on the other hand, you look at it and you say, I got to try it, and I can learn from that. I can see a technique there that I haven't tried, and I need to try that. So it cuts both ways.
It's like it's what you build for anyway.
Yep.
Geoff, do you know what I mean? It's like, do you build to get away from everyday life? Do you build for the pure enjoyment factor? And you've got people that build on behalf of others, and yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think it's contextual. I think any model you look at, you think, there'd be someone that looks at your models and think, oh, well, I'm never going to be able to achieve that.
You're right.
We're a pretty decent sort of group of standard modelers, and we're looking at other people and going, oh my goodness, how are we going to get there?
Yep.
So,
yep.
Yeah,
there's always going to be somebody better and always going to be somebody who's not as good. And so that isn't the criteria for what we are doing this. That's not what we're doing this for. I think for all of us, it's kind of like, it's an artistic element.
Yeah.
It's a creative outlet.
And we've had that kind of discussion at Wonderfest judging. It's like, there are people there that are commission builders, and they're phenomenal, right? And they're entering in contests. I'm like, oh, should we let them enter in the contest? I'm like, it's an open judging. Every entry is judged by its own merits, so why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to get a gold. That's all he's going to get. He's not going to get a platinum or an unobtainium or something. He's going to get a gold. Anyone can bring something in and get a gold.
Yeah, and that's a little bit better there.
Yeah, and these are aspirational too. You see it on the bench and go, oh yeah, if I really apply myself, I could maybe get there,
or maybe not. And it may be to that point. And we've had this discussion about the whole masterclass group.
Yeah.
That kind of issue. And I agree with you. I don't think it matters. The whole point of the exercise is that's really good. And I really appreciate that. And I would love to be able to do that. If I can't do that, it's not going to kill me. I'm still going to make it. To Shane's point, I'm doing this for fun. I'm not doing this to win prizes necessarily.
I have plenty of stuff I never bring to shows. I do it. I'm like, yeah, that's nice. It's going in the cabinet.
Well, I have almost everything I'd never bring to show.
Do you think competitions are essential for a show? Because I'd say out of the 8 shows that I probably attend every year here in the UK, not including Telford, I'd say out of the 8 normal scale modelling shows, about 2, maybe 3 of them have a competition. The rest of them don't. And no one really minds because we all go there.
Yeah. No, in the US, that's become a real subjective conversation. It's like because now we see what those shows are like. We're like, you know what? That sounds kind of fun. Just bring something, or they're club based. You have clubs, have a couple tables. People bring their stuff down.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The clubs and SIGs. Yeah.
I like that approach. And I'll say at Heritage Con over the last few years, and this year in particular, it was a big deal. We've been having tables for display only. And some of the best modelers I know, particularly from our club, that's where they're putting their builds. They're not trying to compete. They're not on the competition tables anymore. They're just putting them out there. They're saying, take a look at what I do. This is what I do. And it may be good. I don't care. I don't care what you think about it. Here it is for you to enjoy or not enjoy, to your point.
Yeah. In the US, typically everything's a contest. Just everything's a contest. But the questions are being asked. And people are seeing the value in the other way, in just the displays, in just the social
Or maybe the open format. What we see, our open format here tends to be, because I judge at our club show, we walk around all of the club tables and choose, as long as you know the category that you're judging. So I usually judge the armor and dioramas. Someone else would do juniors, someone will do ships and nautical and whatnot. So we will actually walk up and down those clubs and SIGs and make our choices from what we see. And inevitably, the person that built it is sitting there. So you can have a chat with them about it. Whereas there is one show that we go to, one of those few that does have a separate competition room. They're just all on a table. You register, you pay your entrance fee, you fill out your registration card, you slip it under the model or whatever, pop it on the table, and then you go. So when you're walking round as a visitor to the competition, there's no one there to ask, how did you do that? What effect did you use here, or what groundwork? So I think the more relaxed, open competition style lends itself to more conversation and more learning when you do go to shows, especially if you've traveled all that distance, you know.
Yeah, I think we'll see it over the next 5-10 years. We'll start to see some of these shows, these regional shows, turn into these sort of social and display, not non-competitions.
More of a celebration. Yeah.
Invitationals, whatever you want to call them.
When you've got competitions, like Dan said, it's more of like an open competition. So if you're attending the show to be at the show, to represent your club or your SIG or whatever, you're not there to enter into competition per se. It doesn't even say on the door that there is even a competition. You know, it's just that the guys take it upon themselves to celebrate what they think has brought the most value to their show, in their opinion. And it's really cool, to be honest.
It's probably a bit more organic, isn't it? Whereas...
Yeah, it absolutely feels natural.
The pressure of building for competitions is a different...
It's more social.
Yeah.
It really is. And we all know people that get super pissed off that their thing didn't win.
Yeah.
You come over and go, yeah, look, I judge at other shows. Let me look at it. It's like, well, here's a thumbprint. Here's it. What's going on with your clear work here, guy? You know? Why did you think this would be a gold? Tell me.
Do you know what are the guys like over the other side of the pond with giving advice? You know, so Dan mentioned about having the opportunity to speak to the people that are usually there behind the bench. They could talk about their model. If you see something, oh my goodness, how did you do that? Are guys pretty open, and girls obviously, are they pretty open to giving you like that technique advice, or are they pretty closed off?
I'll let Terry answer for the US experience, but certainly my experience here in Canada is everybody's different. There are some people who are, this is my proprietary technique and I don't want anyone to know about it, and their vast majority of them are the opposite. The vast majority of them, I'd love to talk about this. This is so cool. I really enjoyed it. I screwed up so many times, but I managed to get this one particular approach right, and here's how I did it. And they're very happy to talk about it.
Yeah, that's the case here. Most people want to share. Most people want to show off if they did a good job and not be afraid. The hesitancy is always on the asker, right? How do I approach somebody? How do I ask them? It's like, just ask them.
Just ask.
Just ask. Right. And at a show, especially regional shows, or, you know, for me at Wonderfest, I judge, but I know just by style who did half the stuff on those tables. I know, and it surprises me when I see somebody, you know, I flip the card and it's like, oh shit, I thought that was somebody else. It's like, man, I'm gonna have to tell him he's really upped his game. This is great. But yeah, everyone generally does. I'm happy to talk my way through stuff. Or if I hear someone go, and some of my pieces, I've heard this before. It's like, see, that's the stuff you can't do without using oils. I'm like, dude, I use no oils on that. It's all acrylics and inks. It's like, I don't use oils for the most part.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what? Really? It's like, yeah.
That's my reaction. I use oils all the time. There's so much more control. Do you not find?
They aren't. Watercolors work fantastic, man.
Oh, I do not need any more paint, Terry. I do not need any more paints.
And paints and pencils and glazes. And no, if you do acrylic, the biggest tool you'll ever have is a glaze medium. Like AV's glaze medium. Their thinner's pretty good too. But it also works in Tamiya paints. It turns that into a brushable paint.
I'm painting this guy using the glazing technique. So he was all black primer and then because he's a bit small, I actually dry brushed him with white to pick up all the highlights, and then the watered down glazes. I started the first figure I tried it on, I just used water and it tended to pool too much. So I then bought some glazed medium, and that allowed it to, I think it almost breaks down the surface tension a bit more.
It definitely does.
Right. Yeah.
Think of it as like an unpigmented paint.
Okay. Yeah.
So when you're thinning it with more paint, and it's a glaze medium that has a retarder built into it, and it dries slowly and allows it to suck through and that kind of stuff. So yeah, if you're not using glaze medium, play with it. It'll even turn, say, your Tamiya paints into a brushable paint.
Really?
Wow.
I don't know how you're going to edit this discussion, Paul, because it's just going all over the place. This is fantastic.
Welcome to the Scale Model Podcast without Stu.
Exactly.
We find tangents off of our tangents.
It's all color commentary.
We're over there now. Okay.
Well, going back to the size of shows and what we're looking at, regional show, our show at Bolton, we had around about 1,600 on the table for a one-day show.
Wow.
And when you're looking at Telford, the competition area is separate to the main halls, and you're looking at around about 900 to 1,000 for the competition. The actual main display halls, the three halls, you're looking between 10 and 12,000 models on the table.
Holy mackerel. That's insane.
That's a lot. And I wonder if that's because that's competition and display?
The competition is between 900 and 1,000.
Wow.
The actual display only is 10 to 12,000 in the three massive halls.
Because you have all the special interest groups and that kind of stuff. And that would be multiple models.
And for Telford, they all make an even bigger effort, because there is actually a prize for the best club and, well, best SIG and best club table.
Yeah.
They really go to town. Yeah.
But that's why it's classed as being the biggest model show in the world.
Yeah.
It's massive.
That's impressive.
You need the 2 days, and that's nowhere near long enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got the vendors aren't in separate halls compared to your shows. They're actually all around the periphery and on some of the actual end of the display tables as well. So it's all mixed in together.
Does any one person sort of consolidate, like take pictures of everything and consolidate them and post them in some way so you can access it?
Impossible. You haven't got time. You have not got time.
Not even Tony Wooten could do it.
There are some videos out there which actually try to capture all of them, but they're literally walking past a table and you just have to look at it as they're going past. Because there just isn't time to look at every single model. There really isn't.
That's amazing.
And there's so much hi, how are you? People that you maybe saw last year or you see at other shows.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, you've been standing there for half hour, 45 minutes chatting, and you've only seen 2 club tables. It's a social celebration with a model show attached to it. But if you're a member of the public who's never been to a show before and you live in that region and you're thinking about getting into the hobby and you go to Telford, my God, nothing else will ever compare to it when you first see it. It can be a little bit overwhelming, but as we found when we were there, we actually had some sofas and we put it out there before we went to the show and said to people, if you need 5 minutes just to step away from the crowd and come and have a sit down, any of the clubs and SIGs, there's a huge galley in between all of the tables. If you say to a club or SIG, can I just take 5 minutes, a breather? Because even I sometimes suffer with really busy crowds. They'll all say, yeah, sit down, have a biscuit, have a cup of tea, and before you know it, you end up talking about models again.
Something I was going to say, I'm the SIG leader for Gundam and Mecha for the IPMS UK group. And it's one of the times in the year where literally we were able to get everyone together from all over the country. And it's so cool that to see everyone that you maybe speak to online, like quite often, but to have everyone together for them to feel that they can take part. And by the way, it is totally accessible. If you build Gundams, for example, we don't mind. We want you to have your model on the table and we want you to be part of the group and, you know, be amongst like-minded people and share stories and build relationships and friendships that will quite literally last a lifetime. And it's so cool, man.
Yeah. These shows become reunions. I mean, I've been going to Wonderfest since '99, and There's no small number of us who have been going there that long. And you see them literally now they're bringing their kids into the contest.
It's incredible socially what sticking bits of plastic does, isn't it?
Yeah, any social group, but this is really broad because you got the figure people, you got military, you've got not. It's a really broad subject matter. People just like making something. It's crafting, but
you can find that this is a very solitary hobby. You put on some music and you sit down and you work away for a couple of hours or do whatever, but you're doing it on your own most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so these shows are opportunities to not just sort of see other people's work and share your work. It is, to Terry's point, and Dan and Shane's, it's a social experience. It's an opportunity to turn solitary into community. And that's a great thing for these shows. And for some people, I know we have members of our club who are uncomfortable in groups.
Yeah.
And so you work together to try to bring them out of their shell a little bit and come and do these things. And it's really therapeutic too.
Very much so. And I don't know how you guys run when you had your stand at Heritage Con for the show, but you have people coming up to you and having conversations that have listened to your podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And we have found the same at Telford last year. It's a case of they're coming up and having a conversation with you as if they've actually known you for a great period of time. And you don't know who on earth you're talking to, but within a few minutes, you're best friends with the person.
Yeah. And we all do that. Yeah.
They think they know you, and they probably do.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, Terry, at Heritage Con this year, I wasn't surprised, but I was happy at how many people came up to me, because I wasn't wearing Scale Model Podcast gear or anything like that, but they knew me from last year, came up and wanted to know how Stuart was doing. And honestly, were concerned and cared. And I passed all that on to Stuart. And to your point, they do know us, because at least with our podcast, because we don't edit it, they get the unfiltered stuff.
Yeah.
So we are not that different from how we come across on our podcast.
We're very much the same as well. The only reason we do some editing is we found that our audience is of an age that has normally hearing problems. And having cared for my late mother for many years, she couldn't hear people having a conversation if there was more than one voice at the same time. And Boulder, who's on the show, also wears hearing aids, and he has the same problem. He's confirmed it. So what we do is split the audio out, so you actually have a conversation and you don't have people talking over the top of each other. So that's what actually takes the time.
So it's not because of all the foul language that we've been sharing with each other.
Oh, no, don't we edit that out as well
during this conversation.
The next thing I've got on the list is what you've things that have actually come out, major releases since your last show.
Oh my God.
How about just the big stuff we've bought since then that we remember?
Go ahead.
Well, stuff you spotted. What's on the shopping list?
Yeah, what have you actually been spending your cash on since the last show that your audience would be familiar with?
Well, just recently I picked up that ICM Henley Page Hampton.
Oh, yes.
My wife was very much interested in that. She liked that. And I'm like, well, there's also the Baltimore. It's like, I like this one better. So I may be building that before too long. That and the ICM B26 and the Beaufort and the
B26, yeah.
The KIE, whatever, Lily, and there's a bunch of twin engine stuff coming out now. Really nice kits. I'm really looking forward to the A20. I was this far from buying the 32nd scale one, but then I knew they were going to release a 48th. So looking forward to that. I bought Hong Kong Models B25 Strafer. Edward is doing boxings of it now too. That kit is fantastic.
I'm just watching Dan here salivating in the corner. It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Before the tariffs took place, I bought all the Dogram kits, the 48th scale Dograms via HobbyLink Japan. It's the old 80s Battletech series, right? If you remember that. They were released here under those licenses years ago, but these are new kits and they bear almost no resemblance to the old kits. They're phenomenal. All the old 80s mech designs, but modern kits. And so I got a couple boxes full of those from HobbyLink. And now I don't have to look for them. It shows.
And Geoff can sit there and think, I can buy it so much cheaper without the tariffs.
I can. But the problem that I've had hasn't been buying anything, because I haven't been buying anything. I know you guys probably have much more than I do. I've only got about 400 kits, and it's challenging to convince myself that I need to buy another one when I got 400 kits to choose from. It's like a little personal hobby shop. And to be fair, I didn't buy all those kits. A lot of those kits I kind of inherited from estates that I was trying to sell off for, frankly, for widows in most cases. And so I've got a lot of models to work on, and it's really more a question of what's going to turn my crank? What do I really want? What's going to make me excited?
Trumpeter has a 48 scale Vulcan now, Geoff.
I saw that. Oh my God. My wife, every time, like, I'm so impressed that your wife wanted the Hampton, because my wife's, the first question is always, are you going to build it? And then the second question is, where are you going to put it?
What?
And so it's like, I don't know. I don't care. I just want to build a damn thing.
Practicalities.
So you've got a cupboard full.
Yes.
But you buy more. Well, yeah, because this one is different. I need this boxing.
Well, it's better. It's the better one. It's prettier. I like the box art, whatever.
Well, Ginny knew what she was getting into since I've been building since I was like 12.
Yeah, fair enough.
The whole time. So I was doing that while we were dating. So she knew what she was getting into.
And so did Lynn, but that doesn't stop her from asking the question.
True, but I can just see Geoff going for one of the other releases that Trumpeter have announced, which is the 135th Gigant.
Oh, that's just silly. Who needs that?
Oh my God.
Oh, jeez. Trumpeter did that?
Trumpeter are bringing out in 2027 a 135th scale Gigant.
I'm seeing this.
Now, we discussed this on a previous show about the scale and the practicality. Now, I can see someone using the nose section of it and actually having an AFV being unloaded, but it's 1.57 meters wide with a wingspan.
Honestly, you could open the nose section and use it as a bar. I mean, what else what's the point? It's crazy.
It'll need an armature. You need to build an armature in there if they haven't. Yeah.
That's mad. And there's a 177 Special Hobbies doing a 177 Grief.
Yeah.
In 148 scale, which is going to be big too. I mean, that would be fun. That's a weird plane.
Is that a re-release? I've got an old one in 48 scale somewhere. You want it?
It says new parts. So it's probably
new parts. So it's probably the old. Yeah.
Yeah. Resin wheels. That sounds like it's a cool thing.
Oh,
but yeah, all of these things are exciting and interesting. But I'm compelled to actually try and build these things. I've got over 40 projects on the go, on the shelf of doom that I have to work on. And to Terry's point, if you lose your mojo, you put it in a box and you come back later when you've got it. Otherwise, you do a lousy job. I got a lot of boxes. Or you never come back to them, in which case you toss them out. I can't toss anything out. I can't do it. It's like morally reprehensible.
Anybody else pick up anything good at these recent shows?
I've purchased the new DBMK 132nd Sea Fury.
Oh,
nice.
Which is due to actually be released in a few days' time, which, as we're recording this, because we're recording for disclosure ahead of schedule, Shane is actually going to the official press launch of the DBMK kit at RNAS Yeovilton, so they'll be stood in front of a real Flum Sea Fury this coming Thursday.
You guys have so much fun. That's just great.
Oh, we do. Yes. But then again, we're the country with the history as well.
Yes, true. We don't have any history here.
Oh, we're in so much trouble. No, so DBMK are releasing that, but also they are announcing 2 new kits.
Oh.
And you'll have to wait until next Thursday to find out what they are.
And do you know what they are yet?
Oh, yes, because we recorded it last week.
Oh my God, you're just being mean now.
So we have recorded a special which goes out next week out of our normal sequence. So for the next 3 weeks, we've actually got shows every week. And we've got a special with Ilya and Will from DBMK, and they are talking about, and we're obviously talking in the past tense now because you will have actually already heard this episode. They are announcing what they're coming out with next, and you'll be surprised. But what they did talk about on the show is the Scimitar is virtually ready to go from CAD into production.
Awesome.
That's exciting.
And the Scimitar, Adam, is going to get Geoff very excited.
I do. I like that era of aircraft. I like the late 40s, early 50s when everything was on the table and weirdness was run rampant.
Yep.
I saw somebody was doing the Leduc 22 in 1/48 scale. I can't remember where I saw it. I saw that just yesterday. The French ramjet
Mm-hmm.
where the pilot was stuck right in the middle of the nose cone in the front of the engine.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, I can't remember who was doing it, but I've always loved that plane ever since an old fine scale modeler article about some guy who built a resin kit on it. And it just struck me as like, what a great suicide machine that would be. A good way to reduce your pilot core.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just trying to think of who that manufacturer is, because it's very similar in principle to the Prone Pilot Meteor, where the guy was actually...
I know where I saw it. I saw it in a recent Airfix model magazine, Airfix magazine. So probably within the last 6 months.
Okay.
I'll look it up. It was cool.
We'll put a link in our show notes, because we also do good show notes.
Oh, you do probably better than ours because we don't do them. No. Stuart claims that our show notes are award-winning show notes. Now, I don't know which award it is.
Yeah, quite. That's why I actually put that note in there.
It's the sanctioning body to the podcast sanctioning awards body.
That's what it is. Yeah.
I was just going to say, Brownie, that the we in that sentence is doing a lot of heavy lifting on our behalf because you do the show notes. There wouldn't be any show notes if it was down to us lot.
Oh, I've got news for you. Delegation's coming.
I did pick up a kit at Heritage Con.
Okay.
Now, it's an older one, and Terry and Shane will know this, but it's Space Wolf from Harlock.
Yeah, from Harlock. Yeah, those are nice little kits. Really nice little kits.
Yeah. I know. I really loved it. It's 1/48 scale or maybe it's 1/72. I can't remember what scale it is, but it's a good size. And
yeah, 72nd.
Yeah, the details really quite good.
Yes.
And I've always liked the look of that ship, so pick that one up.
Okay. So obviously we're not having the normal format of either of our shows in this episode by any stretch of the imagination. But looking at your running order, loose running order, well, I think loose is even being generous, but general discussion, which I think we're already having, but it's the fact that you've got a load of kits in your stash. If a new model comes out, which is superior quality, which these days, to be fair, virtually everything is top-notch compared to what you've actually got.
They all are.
Mm-hmm.
Would you replace what you've got in your stash with something that's new?
Well, the word replace suggests you'd get rid of something, and the answer to that is no.
Okay. Would you build the modern kit in comparison to building the old kit then?
Well, if you're talking to me,
yes,
I have a reputation of being a masochist, and I like the old kits. I like messing about with the old stuff and doing scratch building detail and interiors and things like that. And the new ones that are absolutely stunning and beautiful, I'll build them, but it's the old ones that really get me going. I really get the kick out of screwing things up.
Yeah.
So you prefer to spend the time actually building it yourself and scratch building?
Yeah, I like it.
Which is a skill which a lot of people are starting to lose because you can get just so many plug and play 3D printed interiors and instrument panels and things of that nature.
Yep.
So you'd rather spend hundreds of hours putting detail into something that you'll never see?
No, I mean, I do like doing that. But you know why? The reason I like building the interior is that's how I learn how things work. I mean, I like to know where the systems are and how they work. And even if I'll never see them again, I'll take pictures and then close it up. And I can always look at the picture later or show it to somebody to prove I did it. But it's the experience of learning how that worked and how that went together that I enjoy.
Gotcha. So have you seen a Qatari Spitfire yet?
Yes.
One.
So do I.
They're beautiful.
Okay. Have you seen the instructions, as in detailing what systems are inside an aircraft compared to basically just put your two parts of fuselage together and you've lost the information?
Well, to be fair, I have 14 wingnut kits.
Okay.
Wingnut wings. And I have the Qatari Spitfire Mark I with Mark Lane, the figure in it, and a few others. And I've got a bunch of Tamiya. But I also have a lot of 1960 Airfix that they're just wonky as hell. I mean, and so I enjoy it. The instructions for wingnuts and for Qatari are outstanding. Like they're unbeatable. And I love instructions that give you historical reference pictures and And I picked up a few books the other day that have original color pictures from World War II as references. And these have been remastered and whatever, but they're not AI. They're not sort of colorized. These are original Kodachromes or Ektachromes from World War II. And you can see what these colors look like. And that's the kind of references I like to have. I like to build a plane or a vehicle that has been used. And I'd like to see what they actually look like when they were used. So I don't know where that went.
So we go back to the episode a couple of our shows, which was with Wing Leader, and the process that they go through to actually getting detail of World War II photographs and lightening them to an extent that you can actually see the detail rather than just losing the detail. And colorization, it is a pet hate of mine. And what worries me or concerns me more these days is people are putting up photographs left, right, and center, and some of them are so horrendously wrong color-wise online, but they're not flagging them as being colorized. Someone's going to go to the internet and start publishing pictures in books in the future. I can see it now, and saying, look at this original photograph from World War II. And it's just going to throw everything completely out the window. And it's a case of, I would much rather look at a black and white photograph and try and extrapolate the data myself than actually going by something that's been colorized. There's a lot of older reference books which has line drawings and color details from people that were around at the time, rather than modern day representations which look like they've just rolled off a production line. And it's trying to get those original reference materials now, because with AI, some of it, unfortunately, is impossible to tell if it's real or it's fake. And it's frightening. It really is frightening.
Well, my approach to photographs now is if it looks really good, it's probably fake. And that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. You have to be really careful about, like anything now, you have to be really careful about what you're looking at.
I've noticed a bit of a trend that's started on quite a few Facebook modeling groups where they have a big header saying this is an AI-free zone, and they really try to limit anybody posting anything to do with AI, because I truly believe that actual facts, facts have been under threat for a very long time, but it's like, please don't contaminate our history and references and those beautiful photos and images. Even if they are a bit grainy, they are of their time and they tell a story and they were taken for a reason. I'd rather see a really good black and white photo that I can use as a reference for a diorama than a colorized version, because, as you say, it throws your perception, and your creativity is then led by the colors that you're seeing. I'd rather have that more organic process and make a diorama or a build using good quality reference material that I know that's trusted, and see where it goes from there without the use of AI.
Oh yeah.
One of the things I saw on a Facebook group recently was a person arguing the fact that they'd used AI and purely to put the background into for the model. Great. It put a beautiful World War II background in colour behind this model of a Spitfire.
Mm-hmm.
But this Spitfire had absolutely horizontal wings, no dihedral whatsoever. And he said it hasn't affected the model in any way, shape, size or form. And someone said, are they level on your model? Well, no, but so what else has it changed? You just cannot allow it. There's a lot of people that are modifying. I've seen a trend in the last few weeks. People are scanning images from slides, etc., and asking AI to clean up the image. Great. Start looking at the squadron markings that are on the fin, because they suddenly become completely fictitious.
Or they'll do a picture of some human being and they'll wind up with 7 or 8 fingers and whatever else.
Well, yeah, that means they normally come from Kentucky.
Yeah, there it is. No, Louisville.
The thing is, Geoff, that is actually happening less within the last year.
Yeah.
Because it's getting better.
It's better at it.
That's actually getting better, and that's what's worrying.
Oh, yeah, for sure it is. And you just have to be careful. That's one of the reasons.
At the end of the day, AI can't clip sprues out of a frame. And AI, no matter how much AI there is, it's not going to build the 700 individual track lengths on a Ryefield Tiger tank, is it?
Well, to be fair, real intelligence shouldn't do that either, but that's a separate question.
That's why I've gone 148 and Lincoln length. That's the way.
Exactly.
Oh dear.
Coming up next in episode 29, we are joined by Stephen Woodhead from Gunpla UK.
With that, I think what we will do is draw a close to this episode. If we need to fill the gap again in a couple of months' time, we'll reconvene and go down that route just to keep your guys entertained. But for now, it's 2 shows, 1 bench, and hopefully something that's felt a little bit special and familiar at the same time with the conversations we've had this afternoon. A huge thanks to Terry and Geoff for joining us and bringing this episode together. It genuinely means a lot. And of course, this one goes out to Stuart and Alicia. Stuart, mate, the bench and your crew will be here when you're ready. Until then, we're just keeping the seat warm for you. So focus on what really matters. So from all of us and from both communities, we're right behind you. So, for this episode, I'm Paul Pendleton-Brown.
And I'm Dan Brazil.
I'm Shane Cowie.
I'm Geoff Heyland.
And I'm Terry Miesley, reminding you to check your fingers.
Oh, good one. Oh, you can have fun. You're going to have fun editing that one, Paul.